Well, I'm at the Millennium Suite talking with backbencher Alf Cannan about the news that broke on Friday, which has massive ramifications, I believe, for the Isle of Man. Well, certainly a lot of people, their jaws dropped when they heard that there's going to be automatic exchange of information, tax information, with the UK. As a backbencher, I thought it'd be good to get your views on it. I mean, first of all, were you briefed in advance? Did you know that was going to happen?
Well, we knew something was about to be announced. We weren't aware of the full details. And of course, the way it was announced meant that there was a lot of immediate reaction. But when you take a step back from it, I'm not so convinced it's the end of the Isle of Man or the end of the offshore finance sector. I think we've got to take our time here to digest exactly what it means. I mean, we've already got in place tax information sharing agreements and have had for a number of years. And fundamentally, the basis of the work over here has changed and evolved. And it's not a case of people from the UK coming and trying to hide money over here. It's much more complex than that in terms of some of the trust work that's been set up and some of the international corporate work that's being done from here. And I still think that there's plenty of international work that can be done. And this idea that somehow everybody's trying to evade tax is wrong. Whilst I accept that there is now this big social issue about what is morally right and wrong. And nevertheless, as far as international business goes, there's a huge number of areas, particularly with international trade, that need to be looked at, and balancing up some of the transactions through an offshore centre makes a lot of sense. It
would be naive to think, though, there isn't some dirty money that is still sloshing around in the banks in the Isle of Man, because this is historic, if nothing else. People who have put money away in the past, who thought their little nest egg would be safe and sound here, away from the UK exchequer, they'll be sweating a bit, won't they? I think certainly there's going to be implications from this in some way. What my view is that we do need to take a step back. We don't need to sort of have this mass sense of panic about the situation, because we do need to see the detail. What we've also got to do is make sure we're very clear about how we're going to develop the economy going forward. Naturally, we have over the last couple of years anyway felt that we now need to really attract businesses to the location and have them build their businesses on site, if you like. I think there are a number of areas that we can still really focus on in doing that. I would particularly highlight technology. I think that being offshore is certainly good for the international reach of technology, which can go anywhere. We've got to promote the lifestyle of living on the Isle of Man. We've got to have clear targets and a vision about where we want to be in 20 years. We can't just rely now on the financial services sector. We know that's going to be under significant pressure. And we've got to really build on the advances that we've already made in certain areas, technology, e-gaming, to build the island and to drive it going forward. Well, let's talk about e-gaming. It broke in the press the weekend. There's rumours that the UK exchequer now is looking at trying to cut the taxes for the e-gaming companies to try and get them to come back onshore. In their words, they realise that they completely lost all that money. And again, it's another route they might be attacking, albeit indirectly, an Isle of Man income stream.
Well, again, it's not just the UK. I think across Europe and internationally, countries are trying to work out how to deal with sort of tax on technology and the use of goods, whether it's gaming or other goods, and trying to work out how to effectively manage that from the point of sale. So what the UK in this particular case is saying that at the point of sale is where it should be taxed and not in another jurisdiction, so not where it ends up effectively. But what we've got to do is make sure that actually these companies that are here at the moment, whether they're e-gaming or e-commerce companies, really recognise the benefits of being here. They have excellent support networks in terms of the sort of the legal and accountancy network that's surrounding them. They have access to the politicians and the legislature, and the enhancements and benefits of living on the island generally, which we all support. And if we can build on these aspects, and this has got to be our key selling point going forward, build on these aspects, specialise in specific areas, and work hard to bring businesses over here onto the island. We will eventually, I hope, drive ourselves forward into a new economic era.
Well, from what I've seen, the big companies have known this is going to be happening because the world has moved. Once you've got Switzerland sharing information, we all knew we were moving into a different world. But it's those greyish area companies, and we all know in the past they've been here, where they come very quickly with a loophole that they're exploiting in UK particularly, and they can disappear just as fast. There'll be a few people there, though, over the weekend who will be thinking about what they're going to do in the future as far as employing people for these sort of businesses.
Well, that's unquestionably, there probably a lot of people have already foreseen this coming in some way, and I'm certainly aware that quite a few local businesses have sought to expand their operations into other jurisdictions, and some people have already made plans for this. So I don't think it was completely out of the blue. I think we still got to understand exactly what the implications are. But for the Isle of Man as a whole, I mean, what we've got to do is to try and get away from these sort of here today, gone tomorrow tax schemes and build a much more sustainable future into the longer term. And that's very, very important that we do that, both from of an island perspective, an economic perspective, but also to ensure that we know what's happening for future generations, what sort of education they're going to require, what skills they're going to need to acquire. And we've got to pick up and clearly identify what those areas are in terms of the business need.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're a businessman. What's the thing here then? Is it keep calm and carry on, or just keep an eye out what might happen?
Well, I think it's about having a sense of urgency rather than a sense of panic. We've certainly got to recognise that a lot is changing and a lot is evolving. What we've got to be clear on is what the vision is. We've got to be very clear on those areas outside what you might term the financial sector service businesses, such as technology, such as manufacturing, what our specialist skills are in those areas, and we've got to go out and we've got to actively win business and attract it to the island. So it's about a clear sense of purpose, a clear sense of vision, an understanding of where a sustainable future lies, and making sure that that is clearly communicated and going out and achieving it.